Welcome to Drinks Coach. It's another one of these wonderful garden offerings. This is kind of a spontaneous one. For those people who know me very well and know Emma very well, we would normally be in the Alps, about 10 miles south of Innsbruck right now, looking at the awe-inspiring scenery, trying to get a bit fitter, drinking the odd schnapps, having the odd sausage, but generally loving what I think is the most beautiful country in the world. But Austria is kind of like a game of two halves, really, or many more than that, to be honest. But map, okay, Emma's map, lovely. This is Austria. This end is all mountains and the Alps and Tyrol. This is Innsbruck. This is the capital of Tyrol, which also then spills into Südtirol in Germany, which in Italy, which is also known as Alto Adige. And we would normally be on holiday here, but immersing ourselves in the whole Austrian experience is something that we love to do once a year. The food's fantastically wholesome and simple and beautifully done. It's fresh, incredibly healthy, muscular, darting trout out of the alpine rivers. It's sunfish. It's wonderful, powerful flavours. There's Pfifferlinge, which is I suppose it translates as pepper mushroom, but it's chanterelles everywhere. It costs like £5 a kilo, and really, that's this half of Austria's story. By the time you get to Salzburg, you're still in mountains and so forth, and there's the Salzburg Mountains, the Osttirol. But when you get to Vienna, you're in a totally different culture. You're different, very, very sophisticated, very city-like culture. The city itself isn't that old. But then you've got all this area down here, which is along the Slovenian and Hungarian borders. And it's a very, very interesting country, not because only is Austria such a beautiful and an intelligent country to go and visit, where everything works, everything's strikingly beautiful, beer is amazing and inexpensive, as we shall see in a moment, but also the neighbouring countries are fantastic as well. And it just reminds you that being isolated in England, the thing is we've got England and that's it. You know, if we have to go anywhere, we have to go through France or get a plane. Living in Austria, even on holiday for 3 weeks, we'll go to Italy a couple of times, or maybe even go up to Munich, but they're all just a couple of hours train ride away. So, where are we going to start with this? Oh yes, no. The whole point about this is that we were really missing our Heimat, our cultural, emotional homeland. And then a friend of mine, Max William Riesebeter, a name you couldn't really come up with a more Austrian name, although he doesn't speak a word of German. One of the greatest bartenders this country has. He's a great bar manager. Has been working at Hawksmoor for many years. Before that, he worked at the Breakfast Group. He worked at the Player. Very, very talented man, known by many people who watch this channel. He just emailed me out of the blue saying, I work for a guy in Islington called Hubert, who has a shop called Kipferl. Now, Kipferl, Kipferl, is Austrian for croissant. Okay, so I'm thinking, oh, he has a little cafe. He said, come over, we're going to have a bit of a wine dinner. I said, why? So, well, we import a few wines. I said, oh, that sounds interesting, a bit of fun. I thought, I'd entertain Max, and, he said, look, I want to see you, we're thinking about maybe wholesaling. And, 9 out of 10 of these journeys are, look, Max, look, it's lovely what you're doing, but I don't see the future here. But going to Kipferl with my wife for a 7-course dinner, which had Käsespätzle, Kaiserschmarrn, which is an amazing dessert-like omelette, Wiener Schnitzel from Kalb, from veal. It was an experience where Emma and I were almost brought to tears, because what we'd normally be doing was eating exactly the same things in the country of origin. And with few exceptions, the dishes were better than any of the food that we'd eaten in Austria. So if you love your Austrian food or your Tiroler food, you need to get your arses down to Camden Passage in Islington to Kipferl. Now, in homage to that, I did buy some wines, and I got given a couple of wines, and we bought some beers, and I just wanted to show you some of their produce. They sell, they sell Spätzle, they sell Semmelknödel, which is the German herb dumplings, bread dumplings. They sell everything that you can't get in any shop. You go, I wish I could buy that stuff. Those little pink wafer chocolates you can buy when you go skiing, Männer, they sell those. All of this stuff is online, so all the details are going to be in the pull down. But this was an excuse basically to drink a few very nice bottles of wine, to reminisce about my favourite country. Look, there's no Austrian in me. My father's Hochdeutsch. My father was from Hanover, North Germany. My mother was from Sweden. But we all have a very, very fond love of the Alps. And, gosh, I wish I was there now. Anyway, let's turn a frown upside down, shall we? Okay, we'll start with some beer. So this beer is from near Salzburg. It's from a little town called Obertruma. Or Truma there's a Truma Privatbrauerei in Salzburger Land, and they make a Pilsner which they import. Delicious Pilsner beer. If you drink Austrian beer, I know there's a clarity and a deliciousness there. Fresh lager, which they call Märzen after March, which is a spring beer. But they have darker and richer beers as you go along. So I just thought I'd pick a couple of these beers from this lovely brewery. We're going to start off with this, which is the Radler. Now, Radler means bicyclist or cyclist in German, and for those people that if you go back almost exactly a year today, put in Austria Part 3 drinks coach, and you'll see me getting drunk on schnapps and beer from my favourite brewery in Austria, which is a large brewery called Stiegel, which means staircase. And I was telling you that Arnie Schwarzenegger, his favourite drink in the world, and he drinks it after every workout, even to this day, when he works out twice a day in the gym, which he does. That's why he looks so incredible. He drinks Radler, which is basically their top quality beer, their fantastic beer, made no compromise to a recipe that predates the German purity laws in the Reinheitsgebot in 1518, whatever it was. So it even predates that. I think they've been making beer in the family in Stiegel since the 1400s. And they mix it with pink grapefruit juice, just fresh grapefruit juice, and it tastes so delicious. But most Radlers are made with lemon. This one is a Bio Radler, which means an organic Radler. This comes from the brewery. It's Weniger Süß, naturally sweetened. Citron Verbena. So this is made from lemon verbena, which are those lovely leaves in the citronella plant. If you have lemon verbena in your car, wasps and bees can't go in your car. They can't stand it. It's very, very good at scaring them away. It smells fantastic. The French use it as a tisane, an infusion after dinner, a fruit tea, which is called verveine. But lemon verbena is one of my favourite flavours. So let's see what this tastes like, because I'm mad for a Radler. So this is premium beer mixed with lemon verbena. What strength does it come in at? Let's have a look here. 2.6%. So after a long walk, what a way to rehydrate. There we go. Beautiful colour. Oh, beautiful smell. Really clean hops. There's no cheesiness to it or anything. The hops aren't too Czechoslovakian either. Some Czech hops smell very, very herbal, very weed, like cannabis, weirdy. This, very pure, very clean. And the lemon verbena comes in at the end, almost like it's been flavoured. The beer has been flavoured. Yeah, absolutely delicious. Okay, fantastic. So they sell. This is all stuff you can buy online. So I'm just giving these guys a favour because I'm so happy to have found a place anywhere in Britain that does Austria properly. Okay, so Obertruma Original. This is a Zwickel beer. Zwickel is kind of usually the premium beer of a brewery. It's usually aged, has a bit more strength to it. This beer is pushing at 4.8%, not that high. It's unfiltered, as you can see. It smells like it's a mixture of barley and wheat, actually. It has a lovely creamy nose to it. Oh, that's good. Oh, wow. Do you know what's missing? A sausage. That's missing a sausage and some sauerkraut. Absolutely delicious. Oh, wow. We're going to buy a few of those, Emma. Wow. So there you go. That's the Truma Brewery. Time to remind you about Austrian wine. The basic food groups of it anyway. And we'll go through a few of the wine regions as we're doing it. So what I've got here is a Gruner Veltliner, which is Austria's national variety, capable of producing wines of absolute refreshment, joyous wonder. The premium examples from Premier Cru or Grand Cru sites can age gorgeously and produce wines of great richness, amazing colours. One of the real jewels of white winemaking in Europe, which has only really been been widely available, certainly in this country, for the last 15 or 20 years. Certainly not been around as long as Burgundy and things like that, but it's absolutely as good and costs the same sort of money when you go up the pay scale. We've got a wine here which is made from a grape variety called Gelber Muscatella. Gelber Muscatella is a muscat. Now, muscat takes many forms, and there's lots of different names of muscats. Muscat of Alexandria, blah, 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 blah. There's lots of different ones, but Gelber Muscatella, or golden muscat, or yellow muscat, is Muscat à petit grain, which is, in French terms, the most noble, most concentrated, most full-flavoured, purest version of the muscat grape variety. And it's responsible for making the beautiful wine, dessert wines in the Rhone of Muscat, Baume de Venise, making the wines in Occitanie down near the Spanish border of Muscat Rives Alt, and also for making the most incredible Grand Cru dry muscats in the Alsace as well. Well, this wine's along those sort of lines, and we're going to come back to those in a minute. But Gelber Muscatella isn't the first grape variety you think of when you go to Austria. You're thinking Gruner. You're thinking Gruner Veltliner, or Riesling, or possibly even Chardonnay. But this dude here, Herr Potzinger, is capable of making pure genius wines. And Stefan Potzinger, although he makes wines of lots of different grape varieties, has superseded the expectations of the grape varieties that he makes. And he makes a dry muscat here, which I absolutely adore, which we're going to try in a minute. He also makes the best, without a single shadow of a doubt, the best Sauvignon Blanc in the whole of Austria. Yeah, Sauvignon from Austria. Beautiful, rich, powerful wine, capable of aging for 10 years, but has all the classic traits of a great Sauvignon Blanc from, let's say, Bordeaux or something like that. It's also from an area which makes the wines more austere, more mineralic, which we'll come on to. Then we've got kind of the two basic food groups of red wine drinking in Austria. You've got four basic varieties in Austria, apart from the ones that we're familiar with. It's warm enough in the south, in the continental areas, right at the bottom of the red wine making districts of Austria, to make very good Cabernet Sauvignon, very good Merlot, very good Syrah. But if you're sticking to varieties which are more authentic, you've got Saint Laurent, which is kind of related to Pinot Noir, and Pinot Noir and Saint Laurent come from this region just south of Vienna in the Termen region, and are capable of real magic, absolute magic. There's also a great variety called Blaufränkisch. Blaufränkisch is a variety which is grown a bit further to the east, along the Burgenland, in places like Leiterberg, which is on the coast of Hungary, where Blaufränkisch is also known as Keck-Frankosch. So if you ever go to Hungary and you're not sure about the wines, God knows the language, Magyar is a toughie. If you see something written in English and it says Keck-Frankosch, it is the same grape variety as Austria's Blaufränkisch, one of Europe's greatest kept secrets. So I've got a fantastic value Blaufränkisch here, but also if you cross Blaufränkisch with Saint Laurent, you get a variety called Blauer Zweigelt. Zwei, two, Gelt, gold, two golds. It's kind of like the daughter or the son of Blaufränkisch and Saint Laurent. Now, normally Blaufränkisch is seen to be the most prestigious of the red varieties of Austria. Here, we're going to try a rather special single vineyard, Termen Region Zweigelt, from a family called the Fischer family, who make absolutely wonderful wines. So Weingut Christian Fischer, we have Stefan Potzinger here, and this wine at the beginning, which is the one we're going to start with, is made by two very cool, I believe they're a couple, I don't know if they're married, but it's Frau Zuschmann and Herr Schuffmann. So Zuschmann is the producer, and these guys live in the Weinviertel. The Weinviertel is an area just outside outside Vienna, where literally only 15 minutes out of the town, people are making beautiful wine. And it's nice that the region that they actually live in is called the Wine Quarter. The soils there, in this particular wine, are made from very yellowish, brownish soils. They're kind of a clay silt mix, which they call loess or lice, Loss. And it's capable of making beautiful, young, what we call precocious Gruner Veltliner. It's slightly a cut above the kind of like the stuff that's made in the Niederösterreich and the sort of like general area of Weinviertel and further north tends to be kind of like your machine Gruner. Some of it's perfectly acceptable and costs €2, but you start to get good varietal quality at about €4 or €5. This wine is now stepping right up and actually identifying particular soils, and we're now in the region above £15, but not much more. I'll put the price in the list, but you can buy this online. But this is a 2019, 2020, by the way, amazing vintage. So 19s are lovely, but don't worry, the 20s coming in are brilliant. I'm just absolutely mad about them. If you're not sure where to buy Austrian wine and you're a member of the Wine Society, just look up Wine Society. They're doing a fantastic job. Freddie, who buys the wine from Austria, is cornering the market in amazing value wines. I mean, some of those wines are under £10 from Familia Mantler. Look them up. Look at my shows from last year. You'll see those wines are still available. Fantastic wines. Okay, so this is Lurs Grünerfeldner 2019. This is Max's favourite, so he wanted me to try this. Maxi Riesebeter, the general manager at the restaurant. Right, now, so what are the characteristics of Grünerfeldner? The most important ones for me are that there is a very strong smell of lime citrus, but lime like not lime juice, the oil of lime, the wonderful, lovely, mouth-watering smell that you get from like almost like lime boiled sweets. Lime is a big one, but then out of nowhere, and there's no way to cut the cheese with this because it was very hard for me to understand until somebody described it to me and then I tasted it. White pepper. There's always white pepper in Grünerfeldner if it's any good. And let's have a look. Yeah, it makes the nose almost tingle with spice. This wine's starting to develop. This wine's no longer in its primary phase where it's just fresh and pretty and limey. It's now got almost a creamy honeysuckle taste to it. This wine, by the way, is 100% organic, which is great. Not uncommon in Austria. They like looking after their country. Well, I'm going to have some barbecue tuna later. I reckon that's going to hit the spot. Absolutely fantastic. Goes very well with oily fish. So if you did like a pasta dish with like mackerel or sardines or gurnard or something like that, it would work very, very nicely with tomato and that sort of thing. Quite delicious. Right, let's go to the second white wine. So just showing you on the map. Niederösterreich is this bit. Vienna's here. Weinviertel is round here. We're going now all the way down to the Südsteiermark. Südsteiermark, South Styria, right on the border with Slovenia. It's very Danubian, very granitic. The soils are very hard. This is where Arnie is from. And Andreas Gabaye, Ulapalu, Rochau. What can I say? This is a region which has such austerity. Even though everything's in colour, it just happens to be in grey as well. Everything is just grey, like granite grey, steel grey, mountain grey, rock grey. And then if you see something with like colour, if you see somebody with a red bobble hat, it sticks out like that little girl in Schindler's List. It's the most extraordinary place. So dramatic. It looks like everything was drawn using sort of like charcoal. It's an extraordinary part of the world. And this is Stefan Potzinger, one of the kings of white wine in Austria. And this, the muscatel. The last time I drank this in anger was with my lovely wife on holiday in the area I've just told you about down here in the Stubaital at one of our favourite places, the Grubenhof, which is owned by a Swiss family, and they make Swiss fondue on a Thursday night. You have to book in advance. Go, look, we're going to come in for fondue. And they do the most perfect Swiss fondue. And dry muscat with fondue is just to die for. So it was a real meeting of minds between the Austrian wine and the Swiss food. Oh, man. There are very few dry muscats which get like 9 out of 10, but this is one of them perennially. It's a 2020. Judging on this, I think 2020 is going to be a truly magnificent white wine vintage in Austria. Oh man, my mouth is on tingling. It's all grapey. Almost a hint of cinnamon there. It's very fruity, and somebody once said that Muscat is the only grape variety in the world that tastes of grape, and it is so grapey. And then it's got this steely, tangy, minerally draw through it, which makes your mouth water like you've just sucked on a lemon. Quite fantastic wine, and a wine that ages beautifully for 5 to 10 years. The wine that I actually drank at the Grubenhof, I think, was a 5 or 6 year old example, and people said, "Oh, I wouldn't drink that if I were you. Looked probably a bit older. I went, it's Stefan Potzinger. It's going to be fine, and it was. It was absolutely delicious. So, what have we done so far? We've done a lemon verbena radler, it's like a shandy but made properly. A Zwickel beer, which was just delicious. Zuschmann Schuffmann Löss, a Weinviertel, everyday, fantastic Gruner, sort of like in the sort of low 15s, 10s. A fantastic Muscatella. You're starting to pay now, so that's probably about around the £20 mark. Let's try a couple of reds. So, here we are at Kirnbauer. And K&K Kirnbauer is one of the most prestigious and most respected modern brands in the whole of Austria. It's very hard to find a winery that doesn't sell one of their wines, or a premium supermarket. There's a place called Hurtnagel in Innsbruck, which is like the little Fortnum Masons of that city, and this is where I discovered these wines. And they make this Golden Reserve Blaufränkisch, which is one of the best straight Blaufränkisches I've ever tasted in Austria. It's quite stunning, and they sell that here at Kipferl too. I think you're pushing 40 quid. It's probably a lot less than that if you buy it by the bottle, about £30. And this is about £17. This is their kind of value for money offering, which is their sort of entry level premium Blaufränkisch. They do a basic cuvée, which is a mix of all their different varieties, because they make unbelievable Bordeaux blends as well with Merlot and Cabernet and Syrah and so forth. But this wine is a straight Blaufränkisch. Always has this beautiful cherry colour. Under screw caps, you can see this is Stelvin Lux. This is the best quality screw cap you can get. Beautiful colours. Look at that. Goes with the lovely Tyroler table. We have a Tyroler gingham tablecloth on purpose. Nothing's not thought through here. If I don't drink that tonight, Emma will. I hope Emma makes me a schnitzel tonight. Oh, dark plums. Nice bit of chocolatey oak in there, not too invasive, perfectly capable of sitting out another couple of years. This is 2017 already, and 17 was an okay vintage, I would say. Was it mega? Not particularly, but this is an absolutely delicious wine. So if this is what they're capable now, I think it's a benchmark, really. Austrian Blaufränkisch. I think it's about £17 online, and I'll just look on the bio and we'll show it to you. Finishing, weirdly, with Zweigelt. Like I said, we almost always do the Plough Zweigelts in a tasting before the Blaufränkisch, because it's always seen as the lighter, slightly more simple, less serious brother, really. So when you mix St. Laurent with Blaufränkisch, this is what we end up with. Zweigelt. This is from a single vineyard, Farabam, and I've never tried this wine before, so I'm looking forward to this. What vintage are we on, guys? 2018. Smouldering year. Warm, amazing conditions for red wine, certainly. And this is Weingut Fischer, which is, if I show you, it's in the Thermenregion, which is area south of Vienna. And this wine, I don't know where exactly it is in the area, but it's an area which is famous for Pinot Noir and Saint Laurent. So I expect this to be an extremely elegant example of this variety. Now look at the colour of that. Wow, it's much darker than the Lauer. This is premium, pushing the envelope of what Zweigelt's capable of. It's made by this amazing producer, Christian Fischer. I love his labels. They don't mess about. It's nice and simple, beautiful, in a nice heavy bottle. The colour looks amazing. I mean, if I saw that, there's no way I'd straight out say Zweigelt. I'd say Blaufränkisch, probably. Oh, until you put your honk in it, pure Zweigelt. This wine smells of sherbet, cherry sherbet. You know, it's like sherbet dib dab. There was a cherry flavour, like cherry sherbet sweets. It just smells so tangy red fruits. Oh man, that's the best wine there today. And I thought all day long I was assuming that was going to be that one. There you have it. authenticity from Austria. They can buy their chocolates, you can buy their mustards, you can buy all that stuff from this lovely little cafe, Kipferl, Camden Passage, Islington. Book, have dinner, you won't be disappointed. They make those wonderful light soups where they put a cheese dumpling in to a rindsupper, which is basically a beef consomme, and they put in this crispy, cheesy Kaspressknödel. It sounds strange if you haven't eaten Austrian food before, but you've got this rich dumpling that you're eating with all the crispy bits in this pure, perfect, umami broth. The moment you finish eating it, you want to get up and do like sit-ups and stuff. You want breakdancing or something. It gives you so much energy. And the food there is just magical. So, you heard it from me first. Go to Kipferl. Thanks very much to Hubert and Max for supplying us with these lovely products. What can I say? Ausgezeichnet. Servus. See you next time, if I'm not in Austria.